Hi, my name is Emily Morrow, and I'm a counselor who specializes in work with clients on family estrangements. And in this video today, I'm going to be focusing on estrangements between parents and adult children in particular. And I'm going to talk about three things. First of all, what is an estrangement? Secondly, what tends to cause estrangements? And then thirdly, how can counseling help, either in terms of reconciling or supporting clients who are experiencing an estrangement? And I work both with parents and also with adult children in the area of family estrangement. So, first of all, what is an estrangement? There are typically two kinds of estrangements. One is a physical estrangement where there's really no interaction at all between the parent and the adult child. And the second is an emotional estrangement in which there may be some contact, but it typically is pretty superficial and not particularly satisfying. Why do estrangements occur? There are a whole lot of different reasons why they do, but I tend to think of them in three separate categories. One is individual causes. The second, or you might say psychological causes. The second is what I think of as social, external causes. And the third are cultural causes. Individual causes can be everything from mental illness and addiction, a partner who is unsupportive of the relationship between the parent and the child, a history of parental alienation syndrome, uh, encouragement by a therapist who doesn't really understand how destructive an estrangement can be, both for the parent and also for the adult children. In terms of social causes, interestingly, the increased use of social media and the ease of cutting off a relationship through social media has, in an interesting way, I think, encouraged the growth of family estrangements. And from a cultural perspective, historically, between parents and children, there was kind of a feeling of duty that you continued in relationship with your parent, even if you didn't necessarily want to be. And increasingly, those norms are eroding so that you might find an adult child who is more likely to cut off a relationship if it doesn't feel as comfortable as it did historically. So, how can counseling help? Well, in some cases, reconciliation is possible when there's a family estrangement. And what I try to do in those situations is work with the client, either the parents or the children or child, around the kinds of behaviors that are going to support getting back into relationship. And those behaviors include things like being present rather than pursuing. They can include being patient rather than having a sense of urgency and emergency around it, and encouraging the use of self-restraint rather than emotional reactivity. Those are all behaviors that can support reconciliation. In other cases, where a full cutoff has not occurred, where people are still in relationship, but things are going poorly, sometimes I come in and I facilitate a dialogue between the adult child and the parents to try to bring them back into relationship and restart the relationship. And then lastly, when there's been an estrangement and there really isn't any chance of reconciliation for a variety of reasons, then my work tends to be with the client around how can you regain a sense of well-being and acceptance and peace of mind, given the fact that this estrangement does exist and it's likely to be a part of your life going forward. So the work is on the individual and getting back that sense of how to integrate the reality of the estrangement into their ongoing high quality life. And generally, the approach that I use with clients is often when clients come in and there is an estrangement, they're in a state of shock. They're feeling panic, they're feeling shame, they're feeling overwhelmed, they're obsessing in their thought process about what's going on. They feel unable to handle things. They're They're feeling unstable. Things are really disruptive. There's a rupture in their life around an absolutely important relationship to them. So, my first work is to kind of try to soothe the client, just calm them down a little bit and begin to slow down that sense of this is urgent and emergent, that sense of catastrophe, because then the client's nervous system, you tend to calm down a little bit. You can look a little more reflectively at what's going on, more realistically, and make some decisions about how you want to be managing yourself in this situation. And those decisions often lead to a process of gradually recovering yourself and then ultimately a feeling of healing and the ability to go on with your life. So I do hope that this video has been helpful, perhaps given you some new perspectives on family estrangement. Feel free to reach out to me if I can be helpful. And on my website, there is contact information and information about how I work with clients in estrangements. So again, many thanks for listening today. And if I can be helpful, do reach out.